Are you ready? Act 3, Scene 3 of Romeo and Juliet. But before we get started, once again, I have a joke. So, it's another question answer joke because I like those the best. What do you call a pig that does karate? So, what do you call a pig that does karate? A pork chop. So our clue word today is pork chop. So what do you call a pig that does karate? A pork chop. All right, guys, this is Act 3, Scene 3, and the aftermath of Mercutio and Tybalt's death. We have heard that Juliet is definitely still wants to see Romeo, even though her cousin is slain. She's more upset that he is banished. And now we are in Friar Lawrence's cell where Romeo is hiding out and he is very miserable and upset of kind of all the damages and things that have been caused. So we're kind of going to see what's going on his end. Now Juliet just did send her ring to Romeo to let him know that she's like still loved him, but he has not gotten it yet. All right, are you ready? So Friar Lawrence says, Romeo, come forth, thou fearful man. Affliction is enamored of thy parts, and thou art wedded to calamity. So basically, he's saying, come here, you fearful man. It seems like trouble likes you, and you're married to disaster. So keep running. He's just running into all these issues. So Romeo goes, Father, what news? What is the prince's doom? What sorrow craves acquaintance at my hand that I yet know not? So he said, what do you know of kind of what's going on? What's in store for me for the prince? So the friar says, Too familiar is my dear son with such sour company. I bring thee tidings of the prince's doom. So he says, misery and things have been happening quite a bit for you. So this is the sorrow that's in store. I have the news of what kind of the prince had said. So what less than doomsday is the prince's doom? So what is the awful news? So the friar says, a gentler judgment vanished from his lips, not body's death, but body's banishment. So he's saying that the prince was actually pretty gentle in his punishment, and you are not going to be killed. You're just going to be banished, which initially the kind of consequence was death for something like this. If you remember at the beginning of the story, if the Capulets and Montagues got into a fight, death was the punishment. Let's see how Romeo takes it. Ha, banishment? Be merciful, say death, for exile hath more terror in his look. Much more than death. Do not say banishment. So Romeo is not thinking that that's so gentle, and he's basically saying he would rather be dead than be banished. So definitely not what he wanted. And again, banishment is a state of having or being exiled. So that means that he would have to leave Verona, where Juliet is at. There is no world without Verona's walls. But purgatory, torture, and hell itself. Hence banishment is banishment from the world, and world's exile is death. Then banishment is death termed. Calling death banishment, thou cuts my hand off without a golden axe, and smiles upon the stroke that murders me. So he's saying that being banished is just like being dead. So Friar Lawrence is not taking too kindly to his response. O deadly sin, O rude unthankfulness, thy fault our laws cause death, but the kind prince, taking thy part, has thou brushed aside the law, and turned that black word death to banishment. That is dear mercy, and thou seest it not. So he's saying you're being foolish, Romeo, and not very thankful. The law was death, but the prince was kind. He went back upon what he had said, which it was death, and he's just banishing you. He's actually being quite merciful, and you should kind of see it for what it is. So then Romeo responds, "'Tis torture, not mercy. Heaven is here, where Juliet lives, and every cat and dog and little mouse and every unworthy thing live here in heaven may look on her, but Romeo may not. More validity, more honorable state, more courtship lives, and carrion flies in Romeo. They may seize on the white wonder of dear Juliet's hands, and steal immortal blessings from her lips, who even in pure and vestal modesty still blush as thinking their own kiss is sin. But Romeo may not. He is banished. Flies may do this, but I must from this fly. They are freemen, but I am banished. And sayest thou yet that exile's not death? Hast thou no poison mixed, no sharp ground knife, no son of mean of death that now never are so mean, but banished to kill me? Banished? O friar, the damned use that word in hell. Howling attends it. How hast thou thy heart, being a divine ghostly confessor, a sin absolver, and my friend professed? to mangle me with the word banished. And so basically, he's still very upset. He's saying it's torture. How can he leave the place that Juliet is at? Everything else gets to see her, and she's this pure, wonderful woman who even just blushes at kissing, and he cannot even be with her and see her. And it's not fair because all these animals and flies get to be around her, and basically being banished away from her is worse than death. And so he's very upset, and he's wondering why his friend, and he says ghostly confessor, this person he goes to through the church, the friar, is not understanding this. Thou fond madman, hear me a little, speak. So he's saying, you foolish man, just listen to me for a moment. Oh, wilt thou speak again of banishment? I'll give thee armor to keep off that word, adversity's sweet smelled philosophy, to comfort thee, though thou art banished. So he's saying, look, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to, kind of give you some perspective here. Get banished, hang up philosophy. Unless philosophy can make a Juliet, just plan a town, reverse a prince's doom. It helps not. It prevails not. Talk no more. So he's kind of being sarcastic here. He's saying, what philosophy are you going to give me? What words of advice can you give me? Unless you can give me Juliet or reverse what the prince said, it's not going to help me. So you can tell that he's obviously kind of very upset about this. Oh, then I see that madmen have no ears. How should they, when wise men have no eyes? Let me dispute with thy of thy estates. He's saying, let me talk to you about your situation. I'm trying to help you. And so Romeo goes, thou cannot speak of thou that does not feel. Wert thou as young as I, Juliet thy love, an hour been married, and Tybalt murdered, doting like me, and like me banished, then thou mightest thou speak. Then mightst thou tear thy hair, and fall upon thy ground, as I do now, taking the measure of an unmade grave. So he's saying, you don't understand what it's like right now to be me. I'm young, and I'm so in love with Juliet, and we've only been married an hour, and now Tybalt's murdered, and I'm banished, and I'm just miserable, and I don't know what to do. I might as well just, I feel like I'm in a grave right now. I'm kind of at a loss. And so we hear a knock. Arise, one knocks. Good Romeo, hide themselves. So he's supposed to be banished. He really can't just be out and about here. Not I, unless a breath of heart-sick groans, mistaken, mislike, and fold me from the search of eyes. Knock. Hark how they knock. Who's there? Romeo, rise. Thou wilt be taken. Stay a while. Stand up. Run to my study by and by. God's will. What simpleness is this? I come. So he's telling Romeo to leave, and he's coming to the door because there's knocking. Who knocks so hard? Whence come you? What's your will? And so her nurse enters. Let me come in, and you shall know my errand. I come from Lady Juliet. So the friar goes, welcome then. O holy friar, oh tell me, holy friar, where's my lady's lord? Where's Romeo? There on the ground, where his own tears made drunk. So the nurse wants to know where Romeo's at, and Friar Lawrence is letting the nurse know that he is basically obviously not drunk of wine, but just so upset and not thinking clearly with his grief. Oh, he's even in my mistress's case, just in her case. Oh, woeful sympathy, piteous predicament. Even so lies she, blubbering and weeping and blubbering. Stand up, stand, and you be a man. For Juliet's sake, for her sake, rise and stand. Why should she fall in so deep an oh? And so he's saying this is the same thing that Juliet's doing. She's very upset about this whole issue, just like Romeo is, but he needs to stand up and be a man. Why are you mourning so deep in mourning? Nurse, I, sir, death's the end of all. Romeo, speakst thou of Juliet? How is it with her? Does she think of me as an old murderer? Now I have disdained the childhood of our joy. Oh, hold on. I don't think... Let me backtrack here. So the nurse says, sir, death's the end of all. Romeo, speaks thou of Juliet? How is it with her? Does now she think of me? So this should have been bold right here is the problem. Sorry, guys. Does she think of me as an old murderer? Now that I've stained the childhood of our joy? Was blood removed but little from her own? Where is she and how does she? And what she says, my concealed lady, to her cancelled love. So Romeo wants to know, does she think I'm a murderer? What does she think of me? And so the nurse says, oh, she says nothing, but weeps and weeps. And now she falls in her bed and then starts up. And Tybalt calls. And then on Romeo cries. And then falls down again. And Romeo goes, as if that name, shot from the deadly level of a gun, did murder her, as that name's cursed hand murdered her kinsman. Oh, tell me, friar, tell me, in this vile part of this anatomy, does my name lodge? Tell me what I may sack this hateful mansion. So he's saying, what do I do? Like, how can I clear my name from this and absolve this sin? I'm so sorry I caused this issue. So he offers to stab himself, and the nurse snatches the dagger away. Hold thy desperate hand. Art thou a man? The form cries out thou art. Thy tears are womanish, and thy wild acts denote the unreasonable fury of a beast, unseemly woman and a seeming man. So he's basically saying he's acting like a woman because he's in touch with his feelings, which ladies and gentlemen, can be in touch with their feelings. So I do not agree with the friar here, but that's what he's saying. An ill beseeming beast is esteeming both. Thou hast amazed me. Be my holy order. I thought thy disposition better tempered. Hast thou slain Tybalt? Will thou slave themselves? So he's saying, I thought you'd be in a better temper. Like, did you kill Tybalt? Yes. But did you have to save yourself? Was it self-defense? Yes. And slain thy lady, and thy life lives by damning upon themselves. So he's saying, so, you had to kill him in self-defense. So should you be thankful that it's he dead and not you? If you kill yourself, you would be killing yourself and your lady's love. What would that do to Juliet? Why railest thou on thy birth, the heaven and earth? Since birth and heaven and earth, all three do meet, and thee at once, what thou at once would lose. Fie, thou shamest thy shape, thy love, thy wit, which like a usurer aboutest in all, and usest none in thy true case indeed. Which should bedeck thy shape, thy love, thy wit. The noble shape is but a form of wax, digressing from the valor of a man. Thy dear love, sworn but hollow perjury, killing thy love which thou had vowed to cherish. Thy wit, that ornament to shape and love, misshapen the conduct of them both, like powder in a skilless soldier's flask, is set afire by thine own ignorance. And thou hast dismembered with thine own defense. With rouse thee, man, thy Juliet is alive. For their dear sake thou wast but lately dead. Thou art thou happy, Tybalt would kill thee. So he's saying, don't kill yourself. You are a man. You were alive. Be thankful. You had to kill him in self-defense. Be thankful Juliet's alive. You were not dead. It's Tybalt that's dead. Be thankful, thou art happy that the law that threatened death became thy friend and turned it to exile. You should be thankful. You really should have been killed too for this, but the law is now saying you're exiled instead. Thou art happy. A pack of blessings light upon thy back. So look at your blessings, not everything that's miserable. Happiness courts thee in her best array, but like a misbehaved and solid wench, thou puts up thy fortune and thy love. Take heed, for such die miserable. Go get thee to thy love, so we may decree. Ascend her chamber hence, and comfort her. But look thou stay not till the watch be set, for thou cannot not pass to Mantua, where thou shalt live till we can find a time. To blaze your marriage, reconcile your friends, beg pardon of the prince, and call thee back, with 20,100,000 times more joy than thou's once forth in lamentation. Go before, nurse, commend me to thy lady, and bid her hasten all the house to bed, which heavy sorrows make them apt unto Romeo's coming. So he's saying, be thankful. It could be worse. There's so many positives in the situation. Don't be miserable. What we need to do now is, yes, you are exiled, so you're going to have to go to Mantua, which is another town, another city. But until then, like tonight, go see your wife, take comfort in her, and hopefully, we will in time let the marriage be public, not yet, and try to get the prince to forgive you and reconcile this all. We can make peace of this. It's not the end of all. So that's what Friar Lawrence is saying. So the nurse says, "Oh Lord, I could have stayed here all night to hear good counsel. Oh, what learning is, my lord. I tell my lady you will come." So she's saying, this is great advice, Friar Lawrence, and yes, I will tell Romeo or Juliet that Romeo is coming. Do so and bid my sweet prepare to chide. So the nurse offers to go and turns again. Here, sir, ring. She bowed me to give you, sir. Hi, you make haste, for it grows very late. So she's saying, here's the ring, so you know that she still loves you. Go to her because it's getting late. Oh, how well my comfort is revived by this. So he's feeling much better. So the Friar Lawrence says, go hence, good night, and here stands all of your state. Either be gone before thy watch is set, or by the break of day, disguised from hence. Sojourn in Mantua, I'll find out your man, and he shall signify from time to time every good hap to you that chances here. Give me thy hand. 'Tis late. Farewell. Good night. So he's saying, though tomorrow morning you need to be gone, you're going to go to Mantua, and I will keep in contact with you, so we can kind of wait this out. But that a joy past be that a joy past joy calls out to me. It was grief so brief to part with thee. Farewell. So he's saying goodbye for now, and hopefully then he'll hear from him soon. And that's kind of how this scene ends for now. So I'll be recording scene 4 shortly. Hopefully that helped you with a little bit of Act 3, Scene 3. See you guys.